Good morning, fellow ELDP cohorts, USC Price faculty, and invited guests. My name is Christina Dixon, and by day, I am the Chief Financial and Administration Officer for the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. Thank you for providing myself and my peers with the opportunity to speak with you today about our ideas as it relates to transition age youth service coordination and how LA County can bridge the gap to the services available and their needs. In addition to myself, you will hear from the following dedicated public servants: Mr. Mark Newkirk, who's the Chief Appraiser with the Los Angeles County Office of the Appraiser; Dr. Michael Owens, who's the Medical Director with the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services; Ms. Marsha Blackman, Civil Rights Coordinator with the Los Angeles County Department of Public Social Services; and last but not least, Mr. Hugo Macias, who's Custody Services Division Administration Commander with Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. So to help frame the discussion, we begin with providing you with some context around who are Tay. So Tay are defined throughout the County of Los Angeles as transition age youth between the ages of 16 to 25 who are unaccompanied and transitioning out of the foster care system with access to specialized programs and services to meet their unique needs. To complete the Executive Leadership Development Program, we have been tasked with completing a small group team project that is meant to show that we are able to apply leadership competencies from the course to address an issue, situation, or service delivery challenge within the County of Los Angeles. The topic that we are assigned is educating transition age youth, Tay, about available county resources and services. When we got together and started thinking about how we wanted to approach the project, we determined that the most viable project objective was to identify if there were gaps in services that occurred at various points in time throughout this population's engagement in the system. The first question we needed to answer was who makes up this population, which is when we define transition age youth as individuals between the ages of 16 to 25. The group then went on to determine what we were specifically looking to do, which was to understand where there are gaps or where there's a lack of coordination of services for Tay. Lastly, we came to agreement on the why, which was to assess how the public and private sector are providing services in silos, thus creating bottlenecks in the service delivery for Tay and leading to an impaired roadmap for Tay to have access to the services that are available to them. So when we think about this population and their unique needs, drawing inspiration from Maslow's hierarchy of need and the key points that led to Tay's success, as highlighted by Carrie Breed and Peter Dudding in Building a Future Together, Issues and Outcomes for Transition Age Youth, we came up with these 7 pillars of Tay's success. Per the model, for Tay to be successful, they need to have healthy relationships, access to education, housing assistance, developing life skills, to have a firm identity of self, to be engaged in youth programs, and they also need to have emotional health as well as support. When all these things are in place and a coordinated Tay system is there to assist them, individuals who qualify as Tay will have what they need to be successful. I will now turn it over to my colleague and thought partner, Mark, who will lead us through the next few slides.
Great, thank you, Christina. So as we started on this journey, I come from an assessor's office background, so I'm working mostly with property tax administration. So for me, I think John spoke about it in the first presentation. This topic was very new to me. And like others that might be wondering, I wondered what the definition was or what it meant to be transition age youth. And depending on who we spoke to, we heard a lot of definitions. But as Christina mentioned before, the most common definition is youth between the ages of 16 to 25. So if you happen to be in that age group, you may qualify for certain services. If you're a young person who is currently homeless or at risk of homelessness, you would qualify. Some of the services available include the Independent Living Program, which was established by the Department of Children and Family Services. This helps young people make a successful transition through life after foster care. In emergency situations, youth can reach out to the Child Protection Hotline. Or if you're between the ages of 18 to 24, the Youth Development Services Division has a transitional housing program that can help. For youth that are aging out of the child mental health, welfare, or juvenile system, they would be eligible for Tay services. And for Tay youth that are experiencing mental health challenges, programs are available. These programs are working more and more on an individualized approach to help youth succeed. Health support is also available for youth with substance abuse issues. The youth who age out from the foster care system face disproportionately higher rates of unemployment, lower educational attainment, incarceration, dependence on public assistance, substance abuse, and human sex trafficking. One of the things that has been focused on recently is that there are too many ways for young people to end up in the justice system. Let's talk about a scenario. An infraction as simple and as common as being late to class to put students on a school to prison path. How is that possible? A student could be cited and given a court date. At court, the student would receive a fine. That fine may be a hardship for the student to pay. Failure to pay would lead to a warrant, possible arrest, and the start of a criminal record. Numerous negative outcomes come as a result. For instance, did you know that a first-time arrest doubles the odds of a student dropping out of high school? A first-time criminal court appearance quadruples it. The expansion of the pre-arrest youth diversion program is one approach to shrinking that population. County departments are working on making a difference, but the delivery of services as well as the funding for youth in the foster care system is fragmented and is often difficult or complicated to access. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Marcia, who will lead us through the next couple of slides.
So as we advance to our research and development phase, we found a plethora of existing data and articles on transition-aged youth in California and all over Los Angeles County. So our research was comprised of both interviews and publications, and the information spanned across multiple public agencies, with each offering services for the Tay population. But the number of services was overwhelming to navigate, even for us. So everything from mental health services to job training, housing, money management, social services, and healthcare. In the end, we developed recommendations that are focused on ensuring accessibility to services without barriers. So we're sharing with you a trailer for a documentary film series collaboration that is designed to raise awareness about the unique needs and strengths among transition youth and youth impacted by trauma. So this is a film that's going to highlight stories and experiences of a diverse group of system-involved youth and young adults who have transitioned out of child welfare and juvenile justice settings. So we ask that you please shut off your cameras during this 2-minute video to improve the audio and video quality. Thank you.
Yeah, like I got lucky because my boss was willing to give me a chance because I'm young, dude. You're like 40 years old and all tatted up trying to get out of jail. Oh, what's up? We need to get a job. Nah, it don't work like that.
I knew one day I was going to be here. I knew one day I was going to end up in prison. It was only like 3 paths: be a drug addict, I'm going to die, or I'm just going to be locked in prison.
When I was 7, my mom left. I remember the admissions office. They basically do you have any income information for your parents? I remember saying, I don't have parents. And they said, well, if there's no income information, you can't go to school. There are these little things that you can do when you are homeless to stay alive. You have guys who will tell you, yeah, stay at my place, but I'm going to expect something out of you. Is it prostitution? Is it sex trafficking? You decide.
Growing up is like, why can't I be a lawyer? Never known a brown person that is a lawyer. I was 15 when I went in, and I was 19 when I came home.
Things that I was exposed to, things that I knew already excluded your community. Once I was 13, I figured out what drug was. When you get a juvenile that's considered juvenile justice child, you already know that child's probably has trauma.
I saw my mom get arrested and I got taken away. And so that happened, I was just trying to fight her.
We can look at youth who are involved in the child welfare system, the juvenile probation system, who've experienced homelessness. They are the same kids. They have the same traumatic experiences and events. They're just coming in through different doors.
We just keep reminding them that where you start out is not where you hope to end up.
I believe in myself. I know I can do it. And if the very first time that I took a fall and I just fight.
I want to be up that role model for my son. I want him to look up to me. You know, I want him to model himself after me. Only the good things that I do. You know, not the past life, but the Nate now.
So Christina and I are sharing a few comments as it relates to Tay Data. We know that this is a lot of information that we're presenting here, but we want to just point out a few trends that are reflected. Specifically, we see the number of Tay youth increasing year over year as we look at unaccompanied minors on the bottom right of this chart. And so this may be a result of disenfranchised services, which definitely speaks volumes as to why seamless service delivery is essential for some of the most vulnerable in our communities. So I'm going to pass it over to Christina to share further insight regarding this data.
Thank you, Marcia. So also what we want to highlight is that this information is taken from the 2022 homeless count. It was referenced in a presentation that was given previously. And one of the things we want you to just know is that, throughout the last few years, there's been some significant investments by the federal government into funding housing related services for transition age youth through the Youth Homeless Demonstration Project and other state and county and city funding. And this has made a difference as it relates to preventing homelessness and connecting Tay to interim and permanent housing. So it's important to note that the homeless count was not conducted in 2021. And so we're still wanting to see, how things are shaping up with the pandemic and making sure that the Tay are getting connected to those services. So this is just a plug for the 2023 homeless count. It's going to be conducted this year during the evenings on January 24th, 25th, and 26th. And we're looking for volunteers here at LAHSA. And if you would like to volunteer, you can go to theycountwillyou.org to get more information. And I'll put that in the chat. So then lastly, just to focus a little bit further as it relates to the 2022 homeless count number, it is estimated that 2,067 Tay experienced homelessness on any given night in LA County. I would like to lift up that the homeless count is a number taken at a particular point in time, traditionally in January. This year it was done in February because there was a surge during the period when it was supposed to be done. And so it was done in February just to make sure that we were safe and could have volunteers come in and support. While it is too soon to know what this year's count results will mean long term, the numbers overall are suggesting there is a flattening of the curve, which means that the percent increase of people experiencing homelessness is shrinking over time. What the results can also reflect is the effects the winter Omicron surge had on the ability to conduct the homeless count, whereby it was more difficult to conduct a comprehensive count of youth and families. And these two populations combined to make up approximately 10% of the total homeless count population.
So now the question is, how do we build capacity? Our overall objective is to build sustainable capacity through collaboration. We want to establish a seamless services provided by the various entities that exist. We want to mobilize all the available public and private sectors so they can join forces and leverage each other's resources. However, we have to establish this through shared leadership and the structure as an effort to mitigate unnecessary delays and the essential services that need to be provided.
It is clear that the complexity of what we're trying to tackle at this point clearly requires a very strong collaborative effort no matter what we do. Collaboration, as we learned from our leadership team and leadership program, helps you establish an infrastructure, joint decision-making, shared goals, exploration of shared resources and funding. When prioritized, LA County has a very strong history of collaboration. This is not something new. The coordinated entry system that was spoken to earlier about for homelessness, the Department of Youth Development, the Justice Care Opportunities Department, they all came about through the elaboration of very strong, broad-based stakeholder involvement with the Department of Youth Development for under 18 and the JCOD, Justice Care Opportunities Department for over 18. There has been some concern that that groundswell of broad-based stakeholder involvement has either slowed down or stopped and needs reinvigoration. This continuum of services gives you an underpinning that correlates pretty closely to the 7 pillars that were discussed earlier. The important thing to remember about this continuum of services is at the very center of this continuum of services is a bullseye. That bullseye really is a societal onion peel. It starts with our entire society needs these services for its well-being. It goes to various particular institutions. It goes to the family. It goes to Tay youth. And it's especially important for at-risk Tay youth. And the at-risk Tay youth, if they don't have some of the other things in this continuum of services, ends up being skewed into the justice system, for which there is a great deal of difficulty for them being able to thrive. It is clear that priorities have to be made evident. You heard from, in our training program, you heard from other people that relationships, leadership, funding are elemental things in order to be successful in addressing the needs of the Tay community. It is existentially critical that there be a uniformed or unified priorities and a solid framework based upon stable funding for these programs to succeed. The complexity of this funnel makes it clear that a lot of negotiation must take place in order for this to be a successful outcome. We learned from our EDLP program that negotiation runs a full spectrum from collaborative, synergistic communication to competition in the winner-takes-all format. The winner-takes-all format will not work for us to achieve the desired outcomes for this process. Real progress has been made with the Department of Youth Development, with JCOD, but these are nascent efforts coming together recently. There are many dedicated siloed parties that must work better together to effectuate best case synergistic collaboration. We have seen how earlier homelessness, LGBTQ activities for foster youth, multiple different projects all tied together for servicing this population. Much of what's been discussed by our colleagues this morning speaks to the fact that Tay youth are particularly sensitive in getting this done. We must do whatever we can to eschew competition, because if we can eschew competition in addressing this funnel, we can accelerate the relationships, the accountability, and the building of the infrastructure that's really foundationally underpin the 7 pillars and allow us to have the best outcomes and make best resource allocation to address the youth needs.
So what is a big concept? Essentially, the big concept would be to consolidate of all the resources and services providers to improve efficiency and establish a continuity of services as a Tay group transitions from adolescence to adulthood. However, how do we achieve effective communication and coordination of services? After having an opportunity to speak with the various shareholders, it became clear that the transition age group are dynamic and have close ties to their communities and seek services in non-traditional fashion. They're more responsive to a hybrid system of communication, whether it's in-person events and virtual platforms. They're extremely comfortable with the use of avatar technology to navigate through the application process and receive their unique services. Therefore, it is critical that we establish a sustainable, coordinated passport system throughout the transitional phases. Case managers also play an essential role in maintaining continuity of services throughout the entire process. According to representatives from both the Department of Youth Development and the Justice Care and Opportunities Development, other known as JCOD, there is a strong correlation between the lack of essential services, whether medical or mental health services, during early adolescence and subsequent involvement in the justice system. Therefore, case managers would not only be instrumental in coordinating services in the public sector, but also play a vital role in coordinated rehabilitative services while individuals are temporarily in the justice system and establishing a warm handoff post-release with minimal interruption in services. The ultimate goal is to reduce recidivism and their successful transition back into our communities. Task Force will also ensure continuity in service and implementing our best practices. However, without proper funding and a sustainable business model, these types of services will continue to struggle. This is evident by the multiple services providers and CBOs that exist with short-term funding working in silos and experiencing limitation in true service capacity. Only by taking advantages of the benefits that come with technology, such as phone apps or local, to locate and help streamline the application of essential services, coupled with appropriate funding, will result in a sustainable business model. And this is an example of what we came up with as far as a mobile app where it's a one-stop shop, so you can get linkage to all the services and ensure there's services and a smooth transitions from a Tay population to an adulthood. And with that, we want to thank everyone who assisted us in establishing our project together, putting our project together, and we're open for questions, and thank you for your time.